everybody. So I got a question from one of my followers on YouTube or Instagram or something, and he was asking me about how to come up with good phrases for the Dorian mode. So I thought about that a little bit, and I thought I'd post a lesson about it. So look, don't let this confuse you too much, because it's really not that complicated. So I'm calling this lesson Embracing the Six, because that's what the Dorian mode is all about. So basically, when you take the Dorian mode, you're taking it. If you go to a music theory class and you learn it in theoretic terms, which isn't always helpful, they'll tell you it's the second mode in any major scale. So in other words, if we're talking about B flat major, all it is this scale, right? Starting from C and going up. So that's, in theoretic terms, that's all it is. But if you think that's going to help you play it, and it's not, because what happens when you play a mode, it's not really about the scale as much as it's about what the scale is getting played over. So since you're basing it on the scale on this mode, or on that note, what happens is that if you take all these notes and go like this, right, what you get is a C minor 7 chord, right? You see what I'm saying, right? This becomes that. So, but then, and that's fine. But what you have to look at is really the whole family of chords. So if I take that B flat major scale and I made 7 chords, like, we do this, right? This is called harmonizing the scale. And we're talking, since the Dorian mode is about the C, this is where the tonal center of gravity needs to be focused. So if you're going to play the Dorian scale, it's got to be over this chord. And, so, this is obviously a 2 chord, right? So anytime you're going to play a B flat major scale over a C minor chord, it's not about where you start or finish as much as it's about where the center of tonal gravity is. So that whatever you're playing over, it's got to sound like C minor. The second that you start throwing in other chords, like if you throw in this B flat major chord, all of a sudden it's not going to be Dorian anymore. It's going to because the 1 chord is so powerful in its resolution. The second you throw that in there, it turns into Ionian, which is the major scale. So you got to. It's going to be based around the 2 chord and the 5 chord usually, right? So, I mean, it's going to gets played over this, or maybe possibly this and this. But the second it goes to the 1 chord, you're always going to hear it as major. So, to give you a little example, what I'm going to do is I have my track jamming out on C minor. I'm just going to play the B flat major scale over it. Right? So, look, let's just listen to that. Doesn't matter which B flat major scale you play. It's as long as that chord is C minor, it's going to sound Dorian. But that being said, you have to understand what the scale is really. So you have to look at it by its values, right? By its intervals, right? So let's just look at the scale, right? So when we look at it, what we got to do is we got to get our pen and we got to write out what the intervals look like, right? Or else you can't understand what the hell's going on. So look, let's write it here. This is the root, right? This is the second. This is the flat third. This is the fourth. This is the fifth, right? This is the sixth. Keep in mind, this is a major six, and then you got a flat seven, okay? So it's a minor scale with a major six, right? So you have to keep that in mind. Now, if you want to know, you also want to know what the definitive chord is. In other words, if you had this chord, this is the only choice you possibly have, the only scale choice you have. So I'll save you a lot of trouble. When you do that, you just keep harmonizing it until you know. So look, you would go C, right? E flat, right? G, right? B flat, right? C minor 7. And then if you keep going, you got D, which is the ninth. That would be C minor 9. You keep going. You got an F. That's C minor 11. And if you go one more, and you got this A up there, well, now you got a C minor 13. So if you did it with all the minor chords, you wouldn't find a minor 6 anywhere but that 2 chord. So that minor 2 chord, it's, the Dorian sound is the major 6 in a minor chord or a minor scale. That's what you have to keep in mind. So that's going to be the key point to understanding this mode, and that's why I call this embracing the sixth, because that whole sound is about the sixth, okay? So let's keep that in mind. So next up, what I did here is I wrote out a B flat major scale, which I think is a good choice when you want to play Dorian. Now, there's a reason for it, and the reason is because I'm a guitar player. So you'll see exactly what I'm talking. If you're a guitar player, you can go, oh yeah, that's right. So look at that. That's a B flat major scale. If we're going to write the fret, right, this would be the 11th fret right there. Okay, right. This would be the B, that B flat note, or you could think of it here if you wanted to. Whatever, however you want to find it. It's a B flat major scale. I'm not lying to you. So now, why do I think this is a great choice? Well, anyways, let's just listen to it. Now, when I play over it, remember what I said. You want to get the sound in your head. So I'm playing over a C minor 6 jam, which is the definitive Dorian chord. It'll help you understand the sound, and it'll help you get it in your head. So I'm going to play that scale back there, and that scale is like this. Playing it over a C minor 6 chord, okay? Right, so let's just listen to it, okay? So why do you think I like this particular sound? Made a little mistake there, sorry. Made a little mistake. It's like that, right? Why do you think I like this particular pattern for the scale? Well, it's because I'm a guitar player, like I said. The reason I like it is because look at this. If you go like this, see what you got? You got the C minor pentatonic scale. So The, the, I mean, if you're a guitar player and you want a bluesy kind of sound, maybe the first thing that you want to try is to just sort of mix those two sounds together. So the next point, I think, is that my suggestion is that, remember, the point of this scale is the sixth, right? So what I suggest you do is you find out where that sixth is. And so look, here's the sixth. I'll make it a big thing there, right? And also here. So, for example, the first thing that you can do to try to make some interesting sounding licks is you can take this scale, and remember how we said we would play a pentatonic scale like this, right? Which sounds great, but what if we add in the sixth and sort of take away the seven? Look at that, sixth, remember, right here. And then we put this one over here, look at that. We sort of get rid of that. So this is a really easy way, and this thing works great for the blues too, by the way. Sometimes that seventh is, you know, sounds better replaced by the sixth. So look, this is what we got. Right? So let me just give you like some little ideas for that, okay? That was the sixth. So the other thing that you can do, and you want to do, is just add in the sixth. Watch. Here it is. There's the sixth, right? So what if you just went... Right? Right? So that's another great way to get that Dorian sound. See what I'm saying? The 6 is nice. All I did is I went like this. And then sometimes, there's the 6. Right, so that's one easy way to do it. Next, I suggest you look at the other chords in here that actually have the 6th in there. Well, where do you find them? So look at this. The 6th is going to be that A note, right? So look, it's in here, right? It's right in that A minor 7 flat 5. Also, it's going to be in like a B, the B flat major 7 chord. So, and then of course you could play this arpeggio as a C minor 6 arpeggio too, rather than the major, rather than the minor 7. So that A minor 7 flat 5 is a great sound. I'm going to stay right in that position of that scale because we want to sort of take it position by position. So look. See what I'm doing? A minor 7 flat 5. Right? So also, the B flat major 7 arpeggio also gets that 6, right? And the C minor 6 arpeggio looks like this. Instead of going to the 7, you go to the 6. So these are also sort of great ways to get that 6th sound, embracing the 6th. Here I go. C minor 6. A minor 7 flat 5. B flat major 7. All right, so next up, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the pentatonic scales, okay? So, look, here's another great super trick that freaked me out when I was a kid. There's 3 minor chords in this key, right? Right? Here's one of them, right? I'll put a star here, right? So here's one minor chord in this key. The next is this one, right? Right? And then the other one is this one, right? Right? So these are the 3 minor chords, which means you can use these 3 minor pentatonic scales as well. Now, you sort of want to look at them, but I'll give you a great hint. If you want that Dorian sound, this one is the super triple star one to use, right? This D minor pentatonic scale. Pentatonic. pentatonic scale. Look at my writing, it's terrible, right? Reason being is because if you look at this D minor pentatonic scale over the C minor 7 chord, look what you get. Here's the D, right? Which is the 9th for that chord, right? Right? Next, you're going to play an F, which is the 11 for the C minor chord, right? Next, what do you got? You got a G, and what's the G? The G is the 5th. No big deal there, right? Also, what do you have next? You got look at that! You got the A, which is the 6th, this is the important note, right? Like I said, right? So what do you got after that? After that, you're going to get a C note, right? Which is just the root. So if you play a D minor pentatonic scale over that C minor chord, you're going to get the sound of the 9th, 11th, but more importantly, the 6th. So that's a super great Dorian sound. So check this out. I'm gonna play all three of them, and I'm gonna give you a special demonstration of that that D minor pentatonic scale. Obviously, the one on that C minor is obvious, right? Next, I'm going to play the G. Now here's the Dorian sounding one. This is D minor pentatonic scale. So that's what you get. The only minor pentatonic scale that gets that 6th is the D minor pentatonic scale on the C chord. So it's easy to remember. If you just remember, the rule is minor pentatonic scales for Dorian, minor pentatonic scales on the root, on the 2nd, and on the 5th. So what's the root of C? Because we're playing over C minor, we want the C Dorian sound, is C. C minor pentatonic scale over this chord is like normal, right? Next, on the 2nd is D. That's the Dorian sounding one. And then on the 5th is the G minor pentatonic scale, right? It gives you the nice upper extension, but it doesn't give you the 6th. But you can use these in combination. See, watch, I'll just do a little solo using the 3 of them. My point here. So these are all great techniques. The other thing that you can sort of do if you want more of a jazzier sound is a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take the Dorian scale and what I do is I'll approach some of the notes chromatically. So instead of going, for instance, I might go. Right? Scale tone above the 5th, chromatic below the fifth. It's a great chromatic trick for, making the sound of the scale more sort of, I don't know, angular, jazzy sounding. So the only other thing left that I can really tell you is look at my other two Barry Harris videos about his minor sixth diminished. That's, for me, is a great sound. It's new for me. I'm not really good at it, but if you look, make sure you look at those videos. I'm not going to explain it 1,000 times. You can play, like a. This is C minor 6, D diminished. Next is not C minor 6 again. F diminished. Next is C minor 6, but from the G note. Next is A flat diminished. A minor 6, remember that one? I'm sorry, A minor 7 flat 5. B diminished. And then we're back to C minor 6. Let me do a little demonstration of the Barry Harris thing, right? It's gonna be that kind of sound, so be looking for it. So there you have it. That's my advice for playing over, using Dorian. So remember, embrace the sixth. That's including the arpeggios that have the sixth in it, and the pentatonic scales that have the sixth in it, and that's going to help you get a great Dorian sound. But don't be afraid to play the blues, because it's a blues thing too, right? So catch you next time.